We all know SCP Containment Breach. You, the protagonist as you play as, also known as D9341 or Benjamin Oliver Walker. Benjamin's goal is to run, hide and escape the place he's in. But where is Benjamin escaping from? The game calls the facility itself a black box designation. It's almost like the creator of SCP Containment Breach doesn't want you to know where you are or what you are in. But luckily you have me. I might not be smart, but at least I'm very dumb. The very first piece of evidence we find before we even can piece together what we are in is not actually when the breach happens, but when you wake up in a small cell, there's a table which contains a document. Your first instinct might be to read it, unless you're a speedrunner who's trying to beat the game. Now, I'm gonna assume you've read this document before, so instead of reading it for you, I'll just show you the important words, which are SCP Foundation, Top Secret Research Facility, various testing procedures, and researchers and scientists. These key sentences shows that the Foundation wants us to think we are in one of the containment and testing sites. This gives us a first clue, so let's keep going. The next hint: when you're walking down the hallways with regards to 173's containment, you hear a PA from the speakers. Now, these are different every playthrough, but I found one that has something to do with the events in the near future. And here it is.
Attention. Dr. Maynard. Report to Administration's office immediately.
Now, this PA doesn't sound important for now, but when you understand why Dr. Maynard is so important, it will all make sense and help us understand what we are in. The final documentation we should get is about 173. Now, this documentation doesn't leave us with many clues on where we are. The only expectation might be when it says item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container, which says 173 is being locked up, giving us another clue in the facility being a containment and testing site. Now, for Light Containment Zone, our biggest friend here will be SCP-1162. Basically a hole where you stick your hand in and get another item in trade for one of your items. We'll be using SCP-1162 as our main go-to for information, as it doesn't just give almost all the documentation in the game, but also lore about the player. We won't be talking about D9341, but if you would like to know more about him, then watch the Beaches video on who is D9341. So let's get right on to sticking our hand into a weird hole. After a few times of getting items, even including items about the character, we get our first hint. An ID. What we are looking at is the date. The ID shows it was taken in the mid of 2012. This gives us a sense of time. The next important thing we pull out is SCP-049's containment procedure. The important part of this documentation is the start.
SCP-049 is to be contained in a secure holding cell in research sector redacted.
This at least strengthens the theory that we are in a containment and testing facility. More proof can be found in SCP-860's containment procedure documentation.
SCP-860 is to be contained in a small wooden box in a vault at sector redacted,
which again reinforces the theory. But let's not stop here, so we keep trying to get more and more items, until we get SCP-079 Special Containment Procedure. This documentation gives us a strong lead on what site we are on.
SCP-079 is packed away in a double-locked room in the secured general holding area at Site 15.
This single part of the whole game gives us a very strong sense of what we are inside of.
You don't have a girlfriend, do you? Is that obvious? Well, I'm definitely not a mind reader, otherwise I'd be locked up in this place, so yeah, I'd say it's pretty damn obvious.
The text can also be confirmed, as it states SCP-079 should be locked in a double-locked room. And guess what? SCP-079 is locked in a double-locked room. When you try to exit SCP-079, you have to pass through 2 gates. And the final documentation. Incident Report SCP-1048-A.
On SCP-1048-A was discovered wandering Site 24.
Now, it doesn't say we are in Site-24, but it could still be a hint towards it. So from what SCP-1162 alone, we now know this is somewhere after 2012, we are in a containment and testing facility, which might be Site-15 or Site-24, but we aren't even done with half of the game. So let's just keep moving on and find more things that can give us a clue. We have been looking a lot at the documentations inside the facility itself, so I would think it's time to look at other aspects that might strengthen our clues. The first thing I'd like to mention is the layout of the facility. The facility is divided into 3 main parts. The light containment zone, which is the deepest part of the facility and contains only a few SCPs. Heavy containment zone has a darker vibe to it and contains the most SCPs. This part of the layout is in the middle, which could be confusing. Why would you not put the SCPs all the way in the deepest part of the facility and not closer to the exit? And the last zone, entrance zone. This zone is mainly a workspace for researchers and administrators. You can even see it by the layout itself. Enter zone has only 2 SCPs, SCP-294, the vending machine, and SCP-066, the noodle ball. If you think of it, it's kinda a weird layout, isn't it? Why would you not keep the SCPs further away from the exit? Maybe it's because of how bad the map's generation can be from time to time. Or it was because of Dr. Maynard. If you remember all the way from the start, I mentioned that Dr. Maynard from the PA system before the breach happened. Short explanation, Dr. Maynard was working for the CI. He was the one who made the breach happen, and why the facility's layout is so shitty. You can find proof of this in SCP-079's containment cell and Dr. Maynard's office. You can also find some documentation about a modular project initiated by Dr. G. Maynard, which focuses on giving the facility a new layout. You might think neat, right? Not really. You can find a screen complaining about the new layout being too difficult to navigate and it being like a maze. You can even find a handwritten note in Dr. Maynard's office saying,
You made it so easy. Nice work, Foundation.
If you want more in-depth about this, then again I would recommend you watch the BT's video on Who is D9341. It might be old and not talk about the modular project, as it was not in the game back then, but it's still a damn good video. Now, what have we gotten from this? Does the site even exist, or is it just as simple as the site being Site 19? Well, yes and no. I've come up with 3 theories of what the site could be. I'll start with the most likely and end with the least likely. Theory 1. The site is a backup facility. What this means is, when a main site has a containment breach, they stores the SCPs here for some time until the main site is back to normal. This could be the case, as all the documents you find around the facility, they all talk about different sites, and the facility can't be Site 15 or Site 24 at once. So that will also give the possibility of the site being a kind of backup site. Hey, a quick side note, I did a bit more research and found more evidence which strengthens this theory. Remember a bit back when I was talking about a complaint screen? Well, after reading it again, the person who wrote it gave more evidence of the site being a kind of backup site.
I've told these boys 1,000 times, we are not here to handle this many, but does anybody listen to Hooper? No, you bet your ass they don't. Just on and on, the grid is fine, blah de blah. This isn't the primary containment site. Hell, it ain't even a secondary. We are supposed to do sample tests and paper pushing. We don't have the security set up to handle this load, let alone the power. I have to run the boys non-stop to keep up with all the sorts and new connection problems, and we are still behind.
Basically a person, presumably a chief for something with IT, angry at how bad the layout is and complaining about the facility not being meant to house any SCPs, especially this many. The second theory being, the site is actually Site 15 or Site 24. This theory is also likely, as in the game you can find documentation about the SCPs and their containment procedures, which do relate to the site itself. But if you read about both Site 15 and Site 24 in the SCP Wiki, then this theory makes less sense. The Wiki states Site 15 is the headquarters of the Infotech Department and its Artificial Intelligence Application Divisions, while the Wiki also states Site 24 is only made to monitor SCP-1309. But that's only if you consider what the Wiki says to be true. And now, for the final theory. The facility is not real. Now, this theory I've come up with is less likely but still a possibility. Everything inside the facility is a clone of sorts. basically the premises of Darkwood. The facility itself is an SCP and takes inspiration from other sites, so it clones itself to create its own layout. It has also cloned or remade new SCPs in the facility and people, which would not just mean you are an SCP, but everything that was and there is an SCP, except for Dr. Maynard. It could be the CI tasking him to destroy the facility, but I think the series is less likely, but still a possibility. So from what I've gotten, the facility could either be Site 15 or 24, a backup facility or an SCP itself. And you know what? I'll let you decide which is which. And if you don't agree with any of these theories, then please leave a comment below on why you didn't and what you think otherwise. But anyways, go play the damn game.